Well, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Friday Happy Hour Show. We got Freddie Bro York back in the studios after a few day hiatus. Now he's got a drink in his hand, ready for the weekend. What's going on there, Fred?
Oh, yes, I am ready for the weekend, John. It's been a long week of work. Like you mentioned, I was at the driving range trying to earn some income to bet on some horses this weekend.
Well, if you win and your picks win, you don't have to need that much money. You can just roll over your profits.
Well, that's why I'm working at the driving range. But no, John, you had a pick. Your pick won.
Yeah, they bet it down to where I thought they would be, 5-2. 5-1 morning line was a little with Irad, so yeah, still got $7 out of it. Not bad.
Hey, my horse that I like did get out of the gate with a better trip, but just couldn't hold on. It was going a little too fast. Got pushed hard by a 78-1 shot. I think that's what kind of took that horse out of the race. I think was couldn't really take a breather. Didn't really see that horse being on the front end. I thought it would get a better trip, but I guess Tyler Gaffalione just thought it would be better to just put that horse on the lead. Maybe he thought he was going to have a lonely lead. I don't know, but that didn't happen, and he finished about 5th or 6th. Well, what a nice ride by Irad up the rail. Nothing short of what you would expect from Irad on a good turf horse. That was at Keeneland on Wednesday. And today, John, before we talk about our race of the day, why don't we go ahead and thank our sponsors?
Yeah, we'll start out with Brisnet for all your handicapping needs. We just put up the graphic here for their ultimate handicapping package. If you're playing the Derby, which I'm sure everybody is, and playing the Oaks, what a weekend of racing and what a package they put together, for all of its customers. $29.99. You cannot beat the price for all the information. Download it, access it now, right through Kentucky Derby in 2 weeks on Saturday. So check out Briz. Thank you for their sponsorship, letting us use all their, their great products that we use. Brisnet.com, the Handicapper's Edge for all your needs. And then our local sponsors, Cases Pork Roll and the Vape Shop, who've been with us at the very beginning. So thank to the local sport and Brisnet, our national sponsor.
All right. So why don't we just jump into our deep dive? Is going to be race 10 at Keeneland tomorrow. Particularly the type of race I like, a 1.5 mile marathon on turf. It's a $400,000 purse. It's a big stakes race. 12 horses are entered. Of course, tomorrow at 12:30, we'll have our other show where after scratches that may change the flow of the race. That doesn't look like there's a whole lot of heavy early speed in here to me, but let's start with the number 1 horse, Padiddle, ridden by Jose Morales, trained by Elizabeth Doles. I don't really know much about this horse. I mean, obviously, I don't think the horse is in very good form. It's only won one race out of 18 tries. 15-1 morning line. Jose Morales is the only mount. Still not enough for me anyway, John, to use this horse in any circumstance.
A very deep closer, like you said, 1 for 18 is glaring. That jumps out here in, trying to win a grade 2 and you're eligible for non-winners of 2 lifetime. Really a big ask. He did run second, closing behind Layabout when, Layabout had the perfect dream trip. So, held some decent company. Is probably still a little overmatched in this field. Comes from way back, needs pace, but he does love the distance. He's been keeping good company, that's for sure. But, maybe a minor award to round out a superfecta or something like that. But on the win end, I don't see that. Moving to number 2, DeZevo, Madison Myers with Johnny Velasquez getting the ride. And they paired up already 1 for 1 on the meet, and it was a $70 winner. So this one here is not going to be that price. But if you look last year when he came off the layoff back in April, he started out at a mile, then went to a mile and 1/8, then a mile and a half. And the further they went, the better he got. Now you're coming right out of the chute at this distance race, right off. Maybe might need one based on, all the layoff patterns and going a mile and a half. But they're not even trying to step it up. They're just going right to the mile and a half. So I'm going to have a wait and see approach on this one. and not use on the win end, most likely.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think the biggest asset is Johnny V getting back on. Two races back, as you mentioned, won a very good race at 70. Paid $70. You're not going to get that this time. That may have been the wedding. This could be not a funeral, but certainly not going to be 35-1. The next horse, Utah Beach, defending champ. Ever since this horse has won the last event or the last running of this Elkhorn race back in April, excuse me, April of last year, form has gone down pretty much. Particularly the last race out, stepped slow, got rushed up. Vincent Chamad was on the horse. They have Ben Curtis, who has not been on the horse as far as I could see in the past performances. I think Ben Curtis is a good jockey. I think this horse might have a chance. He's certainly been off since a while, came back and had more or less the last race, as we mentioned, was very poor. It was on synthetic. Maybe that was just a way to get the horse's legs back under him for trainer Brendan Walsh, who had been hot in the past, pulled off a little now. But it's not my best horse in the race, John.
It's one that I could definitely use on deeper tickets. I might sprinkle in a little bit on the win end. He is the defending champ from last year at this exact race. He's been holding the company, and it seems like they just take turns, beating each other. That's what makes this 12-horse field virtually impossible. It's all going to come down to trip, who gets the best trip,
Sure.
who works it out. But I do like Ben Curtis jumping on first time for Brendan Walsh. Got to throw out the last race. I mean, like you said, it's probably a tightener on the synthetic, but he has 2 wins out of 4 starts, 4 for 4 in the money at Keeneland, loves the turf course, 4 wins out of 10 starts and 2/3. So 6 out of 10 in the money at the distance. So if that was just a prep and Ben Curtis jumps on board, could possibly, pick up a piece and on deeper tickets, include on the win end. Number 4, Grand Sonata, always, just grade 1s and grade 2s one after the next. Never really gets hammered in the wagering. He's never been favorite. Always in that 4 to 6-1 range. Last time he got the job done in the McDermott. So one that if he was lower odds, I would be fading. But at the 6-1, 8-1 odds, somebody that you can actually put in there, and he's a great under horse. Made $2.6 million with his 6 wins. But definitely an under play for me. Deeper tickets, I would include a little bit on the win end, but will be under for me.
He ran in the Elkhorn also last year and just had some terrible traffic. I watched the replay of that race. You had Irado Ortiz on the horse. I think it was Junior Alvarado was on the horse. Just had a bad ride. This horse needs firm ground. If it's raining tomorrow, there's a chance that there might be some rain at Lexington passing through maybe later in the day, hopefully. But if it's firm, this horse has only run a couple of bad races in the last 4 or 5 races. They've been on some give. There's been some give in the turf. If it's firm tomorrow, this is my horse. I hope it stays anywhere near 6-1. I'll even take 4-1 as on a win end. But I think this horse has a good chance. Scaffaleone's been on the horse the last 4 times. Again, I think the only reason it probably had trouble in those other 2 races, didn't like any give in the ground. One was at Kentucky Downs, one was at Keeneland. Both turf courses at that day were listed as good. So I'm going to keep my eye to the sky tomorrow. The buyer speed figures when the turf is firm are very competitive with anybody in this race. And I think this horse has a good chance to finish in first, or at very least, in my opinion, second. Definitely a horse to use on top. So that horse ends up being my pick. Has the best also closing late pace figure by U.S. time form of 120. Pretty close to the number 12 horse, which we'll get to eventually. But let's get to the 5 Fleetfoot Ireland bred. Don't know what to think about this horse. Has a pretty good record, and lifetime record. Been in some cheaper races across the country in Europe. Not sure it fits very well here. I don't know anything about the jockey or the trainer, John. I don't know. Maybe you have some insight on both of those facts. I don't know. I don't have any insight. That horse is a pass for me.
Yeah, I didn't know what to make of it. I'm definitely fading it because I just don't know. Held some okay, listed stakes company over in Europe. You can see he ran with Ethical Diamond, but 14th place against Ethical Diamond, who won the Breeders' Cup. How well is that? I'm not too sure. So, wait and see approach for this one. I'm probably not going to use it on any tickets of mine.
No.
Moving over to number 6, Burnham Square.
Very interesting.
What's that, Fred?
Interesting. Go ahead.
Definitely. Moving to the turf, third time turf now. The Nashville Derby, just kept coming and climbing up the hill. Ran into one of those foreign horses, the Wimbledon Hawkeye, who was pretty darn good coming in, and just missed their first time turf. Then they gave it a break, brought it back. Gulfstream had to be a total prep race. I think they just kept it in the back, tipped out, and then just came running. And when did come running, he was flying. So I think this horse, been waiting for this horse on the turf all along, because the breeding has been, even when he was on the Triple Crown Trail, I remember guys saying that, wait till this horse, goes to the turf. This is going to be pretty good. And I think it's right, because third time turf here. Last one, maybe a prep. Brian Hernandez back on for Ian Wilkes. Yep. They click at 23%, the two of them, coming in off a good string of works. He'll be my top pick here, hoping that he turns into that star older turf router that we're looking for. So I think Burnham Square will be the one for me, and I'll pick him on top and use about 4 horses underneath for exactas and tries. We'll go through that later, but Burnham Square will be my top pick in this race.
Yeah, a lot of guys I listened to or reading have this horse as their bet of the day for tomorrow. So they really are on Burnham Square. You already covered why. The workouts on turf have been great preparing for this race. They said, they've been pointing to this race all along. I think I agree with you. This horse could be the one to beat. We'll see what kind of trip he gets. Brian Hernandez getting back on definitely holds a lot of weight to why you like this horse. But I think that horse is probably the one to beat. The next horse, number 7, Truly Quality. Another horse that I kind of am leaning towards. I love jockey Lon Machado. I think he's a great jockey. Jonathan Thomas, good trainer. This horse had the highest last race speed rating. Number 2, Brisnet Prime Power. Number 1 and 2 are pretty close. It's got a good record. Very rarely runs a bad race if you look at his history in the past performances. And I think the fact that you're getting Lon Machado on for the first time is a plus. I think he's a great jockey. I think, this horse is very familiar with the distance, has been run on its distance 6 times, has won 3 times, came in third twice. So very familiar with the distance in the 19 races that this horse has run in his lifetime. Got to give this horse a shot, John, I think.
For sure. Just seems to get in like trouble trips all the time. Basically has an excuse for, every time, why he didn't. But you can see how, it's just a string of, ones and, 4 by a half, 3 by 1. He's right there at the wire, and the trip always, seems to get in his way. He's got 3 wins out of 6 at the distance. Hasn't really liked Keeneland that much. Hasn't done, anything at Keeneland. But
that's a problem.
With Machado, he could definitely, with a better trip, if he'd be, prominent one, especially on the win end with a cleaner trip, and all depends on this field, how the trip will be. But definitely one I'm going to use underneath. He's one of my other 4, and I would probably use about 5 horses to get through a pick 5 if I was playing it. So he would be one of them. Tawny Port, I'm not sure what to do with. This is just strictly, he's been facing all the grade 1s and grade 2s all along. Doesn't like really Keeneland that much. The distance 0 for 9. He's 9 to 2 with Rosario. Usually might wait too long, or if he times it just perfect, but I'll probably pass at 9 to 2. There's other options at 6, 8 to 1, 10 to 1 that I like better than this 9 to 2. Is he the money line favorite right now? 9 to 2?
Let me see. I think he might be. I think he might be the money line favorite. Yeah. Well, no, Burnham Square is.
Oh, Burnham's 4 to 1. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I'm picking the chalk to win in this wide open great race. I'm picking the chalk. I hate that.
Well, we'll see how that plays out once we get a little more time to look at. But Tony Port, I agree. Number one prime power, according to Brisnet, had to add some weight to that. Certainly, class of the field, like you said, has been running in some tremendous races. Last race was the British Cup. Miguel Clement, becoming a very good trainer, certainly has had this horse in his care for the last 5 or 6 races. I think this horse may have a chance. 9-2, second choice, like you said. Rosario's getting on him again. He was on it before. That race was a 2 miles and a 16th. I think that was a crazy long race. Obviously, the last time Rosario was on the horse. So I think the horse has some conditioning issues, no, not issues, it's positive conditioning. And I think, it's been off since the Breeders' Cup, where, like you mentioned, in that great race where Ethical Diamond, Rebels Romance, unbelievable. That was a great race. So we were watching that. I know we talked about that race during the Derby for the prep for the Breeders' Cup last year. But I like this horse. I think he's got a chance, John. I know you're fading past. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to use this horse. I do like him. It's not my top pick. Not my top pick. I told you who my top pick was. But the next horse, Navy Seal, the head scratcher for me. Wesley Ward's very hot. Now currently at 33%. Does have, again, according to our sponsor, and I'd like to talk about Brisnet because they give good information, has good running style on AP, which is early pressure, could stay up. His numbers, both in terms of early and late, are very similar. So it's a matter of a trip. Now, the jockey's been on him before. The horse has the right kind of style that could put him in a good place at 15-1. I think he could be the speed of the speed. Not that I don't think this horse is going to run away from the field, but he has shown in the past on turf that he can show some speed and can enclose too. Again, like I mentioned, his early and late pace figures are very close to each other, very interesting and useful. I think in a marathon turf race also has the positive EP rating from Brisnet. There's only 3 or 4 horses that of the 12 horse field that have that positive EP figure. Wesley Ward's firing on all cylinders. I don't know much about the jockey, John. Honestly, he's 0 for 4. Corrales, do you know anything about him?
No, 0 for 6 I have here as of today's updated list.
Okay.
7 for 80 on the year. But they do, when he hooks up with Wesley Ward, he's got 17%. So rode 42 times for Wesley. So
okay.
I'm not too familiar with him, but definitely if Wesley's putting him on, yeah. And I agree, Navy Seal has got that pace that could be, in a nice spot there in these marathon turf races. Yeah. He could get first jump on all the deep closers, stay out of trouble, get a nice trip. And he's got so much better. You can look since he came back in July when he stretched out to this 1 3/8, 1.5 miles. He won 2 in a row, and then he, was pretty competitive in the next one. So he definitely likes the distance. One that could be forwardly placed.
Step up in class a little bit.
He's going to have to step up big time and increase his buyers if he wants to, contend. But somebody that's really not totally out of it.
Yep.
Number 10, Presider. Faced a lot of these in the past. Actually, 2x1 to the 12 horse, 2x1 to Navy Seal. He's, kept okay company there, but I don't know. I can't use him. A little too slow for me, and has been beaten by these before. So I'll pass on this Joe Sharp horse.
Well, and I've noticed that Ben Curtis had ridden this horse for Joe Sharp plenty of times. And Ben Curtis obviously got off of him. Excellent Concepcion got on the horse. Not a bad jockey, but not as good as Ben Curtis. I think this horse has a chance with the number 9 Navy Seal. These 2 horses are going to be up front. There's no question about it. They both have good pace. They both have been given, again, positive race flow factor from Brisnet in terms of running style of the EP factor. Again, the early pace and late pace figures are pretty close together, just like Navy Seal's early and late pace figure. I would see this horse winning. Again, got to step up in class. Has run second twice at the distance, but that's been at lower level races. I think this horse is going to set up the pace for some closures to come in. Some of the closures that you mentioned, John, and maybe some other ones that we'll talk about. But that's the only thing I can see about that horse is there's going to be a pace factor with Navy Seal. I think Navy Seal is a little better horse, but I don't think either one of them are going to hold on. The number 11, Freedom's Way, Luis Saez always makes it dangerous when that horse gets on, or when that jockey gets on a horse. Again, this is the third horse that has the factor that Brisnet talks about in terms of race flow, race style, running style, another EP style here. Again, I think just a horse that maybe just outclassed. I think, Luis Saez won last time on him. That's why, obviously, Canale's putting him back on this horse again. But I'm not so sure. I just think this horse is another horse that's outclassed.
Yeah, I got to step up big time. Coming off a 9-month layoff since July in Saratoga, we'll need to step up. Post 11 is going to, hurt his chances, but he's got speed to get, forwardly placed. But every time off the layoff, looks like this horse needs 1 or 2 to get going. So he doesn't come out of the gate, firing. So I'm going to wait and see on this one and give him a race. Moving on to number 12, Anagata. This one here, 15-1 with Pratt and Maker. I don't know how we're going to get 15-1 on this one. Maybe the 12 hole will deter some people, but this was almost my top pick. I mean, Burnham Square, if I didn't think he was going to become that turf star that I'm hoping he is, Anagata here would be my, my top pick. Close second here with Pratt. He'll work out a trip from out there. Enough tactical speed where you don't have to, stay in the back or use him too much. So I expect Pratt to float over, get a nice trip, and, make a nice run. And he's got so much upside still, this horse, newly turned 4-year-old. So big player for me, number 12.
Well, I think this horse will be a horse to look at even more so. Well, first of all, Michael Maker and Flavia Pratt, of course, 15-1. Are you kidding me? I think it's all about the post that horse had. But this horse is one of the horses I might like if there's some give in the ground. And 1-2 back at 1.5 miles at Houston when the track was yielding. Horse ran very well, put up a 93 Beyer speed figure. That kind of fits with the speed figures of the other horses in this race that might be good enough to win. So I think we got to keep an eye on that. Hopefully, if it's firm, I'm going with the other horse. If it's a soft ground or any given a ground, I'm going with the 12 horse. So that's my thoughts there, John.
All right. We mentioned a lot of the same ones, but I would play something, like I said, I would use the 6 horse Burnham Square, and I would key him under over top of 4 horses. And the 4 that I would use, flipping through, number 3, Utah Beach, number 4, Grand Sonata, 7, Truly Quality, and number 12, like I mentioned, Anagata. And I would put those in a $1 try key, which would be a $12 bet. And then I would put all 4 of those horses on top of Burnham Square in case he gets too far back and closes up for second, and then use my same 4 horses for third. So it'll be another $12 bet. So I would approach it, the 6 over top of those 4 horses for a $1 try key, and then move them down the second.
Well, I'm either going to key the 4 or the 12, depending on how tomorrow turns out in terms of the course. If it's going to be a little given the ground, I'm going with the 12. If it's fast and firm, I'm going to go with the 4. Like Grand Sonata, I'll use those 2 horses. I'll probably, depending on, again, circumstances of the track, may lean more one way than another. But like I said, I also I think the 6 is going to be a great horse. Turf Child, like you mentioned. The 8, Tawny Port, not leaving that horse out because number 1 Prime Power definitely means something to me. And I think that horse has the most consistent Beyer speed figures in the mid to upper 90s. The par for this is 101. If you want to factor that in, there's only one horse who gets anywhere close to that. It's really the number 4, and that really, well, again, on turf, the 8, Tawny Port. So depending on, I like the 4, 8, 12, and I'm going to put the 6 in there. So 4, 8, 12, 6 will be who I would put on top, though, depending on how things work out tomorrow. Fast and firm, 4. If there's any give in the ground, I'll go with the 12.
All right, moving over now, we'll cover some Derby long shots, horses that are not one of the big 5 or 6 horses, but somebody that we're going to be keeping an eye on. I'll give you a couple and, some reasons why. Mainly looking to round out like the superfecta, the tries, and the super high five. So let's see. We'll start now. We'll go over. I'll give you. Let me see. I got to pull up. I got so many screens open right here. Let's see. I'm going down the list here. Gus just sent me, from Briz. They got their Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks full fields, and it's a lot of horses that are not even going to get in, but it's just a rundown of everybody and all their PPs. So I'm looking at the Brisnet, past performances now.
Nice. Awesome.
Thanks,
Gus.
Yep. And let's see, going down Commandment, Renegade. They're the big stars. We'll touch quickly on the horses that are not the big five. Full effort for Brad Cox coming out of that, synthetic route, the Jeff Ruby Stakes, the winner. I don't know. I'm not, a huge fan of this one. Switching over to the dirt. Do you like anything about full effort?
I do. I mean, last year, I think I picked Final Gambit. He came in fourth. He won Jeff Ruby Stakes last year. The year before that, Two Phils came in second. He won the Jeff Ruby Stakes. A couple of years ago, Rich Strike won the Jeff Ruby Stake. And now we know what happened, how Rich Strike, that was bizarre, crazy. I think coming from that Jeff Ruby Stakes, I'm not saying that that's a good horse to put on top, but I think if you're going to put him in a superfecta, I think you got to use full effort of these trends of horses coming out of the Jeff Ruby Stakes who have shown an affinity when they get on dirt. And they close very strongly, and it seems to transfer to dirt. And full effort, I think, has that same breeding. I think that horse at 20-1, what his current morning line is, could be some value in any exactas, trifectas, superfectas.
Yeah, the longest odds that horse has been is 3-1 his first lifetime start, and then since that has been even money or less every single time. So definitely like it. Just no proven dirt form because he started on the turf, went to synthetic. So really, a head scratcher if he's going to like the dirt or not. So that's one you want to keep an eye on the workouts of how he's doing over the Churchill Downs dirt.
Yep.
The Puma Silent Tactic. Here's another one that just keeps grinding, and he was a little bit closer to the pace last time than I really wanted to be. He's better off, and a Derby field's going to help him. He'll be pretty far back, and he'll make that one sweeping run 8, 9, 10 wide, turning for home, and down the middle of the lane when everybody else is staggering. We know he could get the distance, and he's probably a great under horse. Could even get up for second or third. I see him that high.
I don't have much to say about that horse. He's not one of my long shots, so go to another one.
Emerging Market, 2 for 2 for Chad Brown. I'm going to see how he's working out over the track, but Chad normally wouldn't send a young horse if he didn't really think, and if he really thought he didn't have a chance, he'd probably point towards the Preakness with this horse. But since he's bringing him here to the Derby, you got to consider it, unless Klarovich pushed him and wanted to run more than Chad wanted to run. So very lightly raced horse, just a grinding style, should get the distance, but so lightly raced and not tournament proven, battle tested.
I like Emerging Market. That's one of my horses that's a long shot. I think one of the factors that's giving any horse that has a 95 buyer speed figure or better, or a 100 Brisnet speed figure or better, those two together are horses that have done very well in the Derby, so don't leave them out. Emerging Market is one of them. So at 18-1, I certainly am going to give that horse a look too.
Pavlovian out of Louisiana Derby. I just think he did run, 101 speed rating by Brisnet, last time. So Emerging Market beat him. So if you like Emerging Market, Pavlovian is more battle tested and just missed. It took everything Emerging Market had to get by, this horse. This horse was 21-1, and Emerging Market was 2-1. So probably a little overmatched here. Probably one I would not, be using.
Well, if you're looking at the trend I just mentioned, the highest buyer speed figure that Pavlovian has is 90. So that's below what historically has been necessary for a horse to do well in the Derby. Right, Brisnet speed figure, I think his Brisnet speed figure was 101. Is that what he said?
Yep. Yeah.
101. His buyers was 90. So if you're looking at that and you put any credence into that, it certainly might not be the best horse, in my opinion, for me. But good.
Incredible. Just won the Virginia Derby, the race at Colonial. Beat Grittiness and wasn't a stacked field. So I'm not sure how much is going to come out of the Virginia route to the Kentucky Derby. But I do like the horse. You got to throw out the Holy Bull race when he got dusted by nearly 6 by 25. Something was amiss. We put a line through that and we took him in the Virginia Derby at 6-1. So we forgave that. And other than that race, pretty competitive, and one I think that would be forwardly placed, and not tons of overall speed in this year's Derby. So if he could be forwardly placed with a little bit of kick, he is a board potential.
No doubt, incredible. In spite of him not having a bar speed figure that fits, I like this horse. 2 for 2 at Churchill Downs. Got to have some credibility weighted to that, being 2 for 2 at Churchill Downs. If I'm not mistaken, the Virginia Derby was one turn. Even though it was a mile and 1/8, it was one turn race. It was kind of different. I think that sort of puts a little bit of a question mark next to this horse. Although, again, 2 for 2, any horse that likes Churchill Downs, some horses like it, some horses don't. I think any of the horses that haven't run at Churchill Downs, I think it's important to take a look at their workouts. But that horse has a chance.
Golden Tempo. Don't know what to do with this Cherie DeVoe trainee. Golden Tempo. I'm still going to have to do some more research and see if he's one that could close and maybe get a minor award.
Yeah, Golden Tempo, another closer in the race filled with closers. Got to just try and find out which one's the best closer as post positions fall into play. Golden Tempo is certainly a horse to keep an eye on, but not for me.
Okay, Class President is not going to go. Stark Contrast is going to go in the turf race. Chief Wallaby was one of the big five, and I'm sticking with him as one of my principal plays. Iron Honor, I don't think is going to go. Potente for Bob Baffert, he's go from the Santa Anita Derby. Finished second to So Happy. So Potente, 2 for 2, and then he was even money against So Happy, who ran a clunker the race before. So Happy came back, turned the tables, and ran like I thought he was going to 3 races ago. So Potente, I would probably stick with So Happy. Just he's going to get a better trip. Potente is going to be more towards the lead, more like speed oriented. Even though there's not much speed in the race, I could still see So Happy still beating Potente again in the Derby.
Well, Potente has the check marks next to Buyer Speed Figure plus 95 or better, and Brisnet 100 better. I mean, Potente 95, Buyer Speed Figure 100. Brisnet, that horse has, again, if you look at that, you can't just look at that, but I think that has to weigh in the decision that you make when you look at those factors. The Brisnet Prime Speed Figure and the Buyer Speed Figure, how do they fit in with the horse? Potente has that. I think that horse could find a good spot. If he gets a good trip, again, a lot's going to be determined by post-position draw, which I think is like a Tuesday or something in between a couple races or something like next week.
Yes, it'll be. I'll give you plenty of time. They might even do it on Sunday. I mean, I don't know when they're going to do it, but they want to give you as much time as possible, and we're going to need, with the races all drawn, that is an incredible card. Friday and Saturday, you got a lot of studying to do in those 4 days before that. So hopefully they draw that out, and we could turn the screws to the picks. But right now it's impossible to make a pick not knowing the post positions. Just some horses that we're talking about that could close. Last one I want to mention here is the one I'm holding a future book wager on. Dannon Bourbon, 3 for 3, Japanese horse, but he was bred here by Maxfield out of a Tappet mare. He'll love the dirt. Maxfield loved Churchill Downs. If he's anything like his father. He'll be forwardly placed. He won his 3 races by 10 lengths, 5 lengths, and 4 lengths. So I think he's going in the right direction and could sit a nice enough trip behind the early speed to get a nice run through. And I'm going to definitely be using Dannon Bourbon. Even on the win end, I'm holding the 58-1 ticket on him, and we'll use them underneath for sure.
Who's the jockey on that horse?
No rider listed, but it was the same jockey, which I wouldn't know. Nishimura. Nishimura. Rode him all 3 starts.
I like the other Japanese horse too as well, Wonder Dan. The reason I like that horse is because might not be quite good enough, but the jockey who's on him, Ryusu Sakai, I would say it, sorry. He rode Forever Young in the Derby last year. Now, again, Forever Young finished pretty strongly with this jockey who's on Wonder Dan, 30-1. What are the odds on, well, you got a 58-1 on the horse. What's the current odds listed as of now?
I think it was 15-1, Dane and Bourbon.
15-1, okay. Interesting. One horse I want to mention that I kind of like, and I think you're going to get a lot of people betting this horse just because of the name, but I don't like it because of the name, even though I do like the party. The rate to party is 41. Ken McPeak said this horse is going to like more distance. He won the, what did he win? He just won his next race. What race did Rate the Party win? I'm losing my focus.
Right to Party. He just won he ran second in the Wood Memorial.
Okay. Ran well in the Wood Memorial, ran second.
To 1, and he ran second in a race that totally fell apart. It was the slowest Wood Memorial in years. The Demoiselle, the Phillies ran faster than the Wood Memorial.
Yeah, I think that's
tough to take anybody out of the wood.
That's a negative to take that horse. But Ken McPeak kind of likes this horse. He does. Again, the distance got longer. He got better. I think at 40-1, that's what the morning line is. It's probably going to be one of those 50-1 shots. You never know. Just take a look.
No, there's going to be one of these horses that like this. I'm looking at the profile here, and you're going to get horses just like this, clunking up there at the end, finish fourth, round out your super at 42-1. Yeah. And you're going to be like, oh, yeah, you could see it. I mean, this is one of them that, yeah, but the race was so slow. It's really going to be tough to elevate it over a lot of other horses. But if you got the budget, too, he's one that can pick up pieces.
Yeah, he can definitely get up there. So those are horses that we talked about, John, that have, obviously, chances and why we like him. We look forward to talking about this on every Friday moving forward, particularly on May 1st. We hope to get either one of the upcoming Fridays, get one of our guests on to talk to us. We know everybody's going to be busy. Everybody's going to be pouring over these past performances. Everybody might not be using highlighters like I use, John, but I like my highlighters. So I might have to stop at Staples and get a new supply and, get all my different colors organized here, John.
Yep, we got time to get it done. So tomorrow we will be on at 12:30, and we're going to break down the late pick 5 from Oaklawn, which is a pretty nice sequence, highlighted by a race you normally don't see early in the season when you got your older horses competing and battling each other early on, when you got the two Journalism and Sovereignty, and can't throw out Weta Barrio with his second place finish in the Pegasus World Cup. So
that's going to be a great race. A great race. Can't wait to see it. Yeah.
Just the way it unfolds to see if Weta Barrio is not on the lead down the backstretch, something is wrong. I mean, the lead has got to fall into his lap. The only way he's going to out sprint those two is bottom him out. He's got to open up and let Weta Barrio run, catch a breather a little bit along the way, and then out kick him. But if they're close enough to him, sitting second and third, they're going to go by him. I mean, Weta Barrio is not the same as he was 2 years ago when he won the Whitney. Those horses are, machines. So the only shot he's got is to bottom them out.
I think you broke that race down perfectly, John. We'll be looking forward to talking about it a little bit more tomorrow when we'll be covering the late pick 5 at Oaklawn. After the scratches could be big. I kind of got a feeling that the Weta Barrio won't be scratched again. I mean, last time there's a lawsuit or something.
If they scratch him, can you imagine the backlash
and
the social media feeds if he gets scratched again?
It'll blow up. It'll blow up. Hey, John, here's something else I want to notice. My internet didn't go out. So let that know.
But you are scratchy. Every time you talk, your microphone or whatever, you are really screechy and scratchy.
Is that just my voice, or is that just
No, it's not your voice. Your voice is coming along. It's not getting worse, your voice. When you talk, your microphone sounds like it's scratchy. I don't know what the replay is going to look like, but see if you notice it when you if there's something wrong with your mic.
I mean, I can't tell on my end. You sound fine. See how the replay sounds. We'll check it out. But in the meantime, any final words, John, before we say goodbye?
No, just get ready to go to the Philly game tonight, and hopefully they can turn it around and get a victory.
All right. Well, enjoy that game. Enjoy the game. I'll see you tomorrow at 12:30. Don't forget to bet smart, cheer hard, because fast horses can lead to some serious fun. And no matter what happens, just let them run, John. Let them run.
Sounds good, guys. Let them run.
All right. Adios.